Good morning everyone, welcome to my channel. So I thought instead of wasting your time, I do a little bit of work here on this spine. So I come up with a way that I can, I need to wipe my fingers. I've got glue everywhere. Hang on one second, let me grab some wet ones. I've come up with a way to protect my spine and view it and still, make it strong. I decided that I would remove, remember there was a page flapping here? I removed the page, I've set it aside, and I can then use that. Can't get into the wet ones. I can use that in maybe a prompt coming forward in the project. I then figured out that I could still protect the hinging part, which is this, corners here, by laying down my calico or muslin, but stopping just before it. It's not the strongest scenario because technically you would want your fabric coming down into there and out the other side. But, this is not a textbook that would be used by a child every day. It's, just us pulling it out, having a little trip down memory lane. So I decided that I could still sneak over the edge and none of the writing was actually covered. The other thing I've done is put a light coat of my PVA glue over it just to protect it, because the fabric, the paper there is old. Like it feels pretty tough, like it's that rag paper, but you just never know, do you? It doesn't take much for something to get caught and away it goes. So that was my solution. So I tidied up the edge, sort of trimmed off all the dags, snipped that back. I've still got my beautiful piece of paper that was still attached here, and I'm thinking maybe there's a prompt that might be able to use that, because I'm really enjoying bringing paper into it. I don't think I do enough of that. So I'm just about done, and I thought, oh, turn the video on, bring you up to speed. I just want to make sure that's... Now, I think I showed you in one of the other videos, I found some scrapbook paper in the cupboard that I hardly ever go to due to no time after stitching. A collection from Stamperia called Threads. So I may choose a piece out of that collection to go here and here, but I'm not going to do that yet. I just feel like I might just hang loose, see how these prompts roll out, because at the moment I'm thinking if I do 4 pages, I think I'm done there. I think I can clean up a little here. If I do 4 pages for every prompt, I've got a big problem coming because my spine is only so wide. So I think I need to just wait and see. Maybe there'll be a piece of work here and here, and then the rest. I'm still going to do the floating spine method, but not having it go across the pretty writing. It's going to be of its own accord out here, and I might even do another one here and the two come together. I'll show you what I mean. I've been thinking a lot about it. I did even think about the concertina, but I've decided against it because I find that, let me just focus on one thing at a time here. I've got glue, fabric teetering very close, and I'm going to have a disaster if I don't concentrate on what the girl's doing with that glue bottle. So let's get that and the book out of my way. Actually, I'll leave it there for a second. I just want to show you one thing. So I had the brainwave that I could do concertina because, this canyon here of beauty. So I thought, if I attached a big piece of fabric, let's get rid of that one. If I attached a piece of fabric now to this, okay, let's if I attached that to there, stitch that down, then the piece that we create next would sit over it. So now I've turned my signature into a concertina, and then I'm away. I would then have another one here that would lay over, another one here that would lay over, etc., etc. But I've gone away from the idea completely. Like when I got out of bed this morning, concertina it was going to be. But what concerns me is handing this book to someone that doesn't really know what we do and is having a look. You tend to watch them the way they use their hands and that. They don't, you know, gently turn things. They sort of flip through thinking it's a book. Well, it is, but it's, you know, gentle. Maybe I'm being too precious, but I think you know what I mean. So I need to make it sturdy. So I've forgotten about that concertina altogether, and I think I'm on the right track. So we have signature, we have a signature. Then we're going to grab some fabric. Now I went through this a little bit in the last video. So let's just split this. Now that will glue to there. That will glue to there. Okay, then something pretty can go over that to hide it. Paper, a piece of stitchery. We now have our spine coming up here away from this spine. And that's when you would draw some lines evenly spaced apart and then stitch our pre-finished signatures into these strips. Does that make sense? So that would go into there, that would go into there, and as we worked our way through the book, there'd come a point where we can't fit any more. Let's say we can get another 2 signatures in. Then you'd pretend that this was over here, and you would sandwich a piece of artwork here, a piece of artwork here, and now your spine is complete. And the whole thing is attached to the back of my book. So it'd be just a case of the book would close like so over the whole thing. And as they open it, beautiful, beautiful. And then here's a book that they actually flip through. That's how this is going to go together. I don't think the concertina is for me because I can just see a metre of stitching flicking off in one direction. And, you know, often, oh my goodness, you take your piece to someone's place to they want to have a look, and then show me, and you try and clear the table quickly because it's right in amongst everything. And then flip-flop, there's fabric and bits everywhere, and then, oh, pass it over here, Beryl, let me have another look. Oh my goodness, it just stresses me. Am I too precious? Probably. So that's the plan. I need to make this really secure. My other issue is if I do, like, you know, a prompt, 3 pages for every prompt, I'm going to have trouble. So I'm going to run out of space. So I'm thinking I'm not going to do another sampler page. I think I've explored it enough. We've got plenty for the salesman. We've got lace by the yard or metre. We've got panels that they can buy, big sheets of lace, say, you know, for curtaining or whatever they want to do. And then we've got some distinctive little motifs. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to just save that for something else. There'll be some gorgeous prompt come through. I don't mind the thickness of these strips, so let's just leave that all together for a rainy day and move on. So that is, I'm going to call done for the prompt. I could just keep going, and my problem is the spine. It's preset thick. So that is ready now. And I've got an opportunity for a stitchery, or even, okay, here we go. We're off on another tangent. This is torn down to size because I thought I might do a concertina, and then as I was starting to glue, I was like, no, don't like that idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this fabric and tear a few signatures. So what if we've got the big girl, got the big girl here stacking up. This could be here, like that. Fold that over, and we've now got, yes, I'm going to do that. We've now got a landscape. So let's say we get a prompt where we need a little bit more wriggle room. Now, actually, someone mentioned what size are my pieces. Where's me tape measure? So my signature is 19 centimeters or 7.5, and the height is 10 inches or 25 centimeters. Now that's because of my book sets my size. So if you don't have a cover, you can follow along with my measurements because you'll be creating your own cover. But if you have a book, you do need to keep in mind your book cover size. Now, if I was making a journal, my papers would sit in a little bit. You see how this piece of paper's here? I would use that as my measurement because paper's not as forgiving, and if it's hanging out everywhere, it gets crimpled and damaged. Fabric looks amazing if it's hanging out everywhere, and lace. So I always go to the size of the actual cover because then I've got threads and bits and pieces peeking out everywhere. So where was I? The inside cover. This signature, I think this is where I should have done the lace sampler. Hey, actually, here we go. Because it's a 3-page scenario already. Oh my goodness, let's do that. Done. There we go. And then I don't need, so now all I've got to do is glue this to there. And there is the inside lace sampler. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. The only other thing I want to do is I want to create a tie here because otherwise it flip-flops. Now, I've done this in another journal. Oh, I can't believe I've just dawned on me. Oh my goodness me. Let me just show you my 2 previous journals. Now, if you don't want to do what I'm about to do, you can just use your cover, place a pocket, do some stitching, and that's it. In this scenario, the tabs were exposed, but I could put those tabs underneath that decorative piece as well, but I chose to leave them exposed, and that's all I did on the inside of that cover. This is volume 1. Oh gosh, girls, haven't we been busy over the time we've all been doing this? Think of the hours of work we've put in. This one has a tie here and it flips out. So this is what we're going to do. See, I've still got room here. If I do a stitchery and I haven't got a home for it, this one here is ready to go, or have an idea. See how it flips out and you get that full spread. Just gives you a little bit more space to present your piece. So what we need to do, oh, I can't believe we just figured this out. Sometimes I just need to get in here, stop thinking outside the room, get in here, and I turn the camera on and just hear myself talk these things through, and away we go. So what I need before this gets attached is I need to apply a tie. What could we use? I need a trim that can handle being tied off. So I'm thinking more of a braid. I might have to stop the camera and head in that direction because there's nothing in that direction. All right, guys, I'm going to just pause the video and find myself a tie. And then I might go and grab some glue that glues a lot quicker, so more of a clear tacky glue. And we're going to attach that to there. Add our tie and we're ready. And that is in position. And our sampler will be on the front cover with a little tie. I love it, I love it. Feels like it needed to be separate to the rest because it's sort of a whole project by itself. Anyway, I'm going to go and find something that will be nice and strong to tie this together. Won't be a moment. Okay, I'm back. Found the perfect thing. Found the perfect thing. It will handle being undone. So I'm just putting a thin layer of PVA glue over that. I didn't think I'd get this much work done on this journal yet. I sort of felt like it would roll for a few weeks. But to be honest, I'm sick of thinking about it. It'd be nice to have a plan and then my creativity is contained somewhat. If you've watched me for a while, you'll know that would be a good thing. The girl gets a little, you know, loves a good rabbit hole. So I've just got a thin layer of PVA there, just for that extra coverage and for the speed of gripping. I'm going to put just a little bit of this craft glue, especially around the perimeter where it needs to grab quickly. Through there where I'm going to have my tie. Let's get the tie up the right way. We need this end. Do we want it that way? We would, wouldn't we? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I don't think it matters. No, it doesn't matter. So let's just smear that around a little. It's getting quite tacky now. All right, where's my lace sampler? Where did it go? Well, it's right here in front of me, girl. So let's get this back page into position. And just give it a little bit of pressure, and that will grip beautifully. We've got our tie, so that will become, you know, bowed off. The only thing I'll have to do is I will now need to surgically let's give us a little bit of length. Cut that at the 10. I need to now sneak. Is that gluing? Before the girl gets carried away here, let's just double check it. I think it is. Yeah. Okay. So the plan now is I need to get in between these layers because I've stitched this together. I need a little snip. What if I bring it to the front? Make it a feature. Yeah, let's do that. Where's the number 1? It'd be nice to see the beginning of the tape measure. Is that enough to make a bow? Yes, it is. I believe so. Let's snip it back there. And let's attach it there so we can actually see it. So we need needle and thread. Then I need to put this aside and let it dry, because the more I fiddle with it, the more I'm going to upset the glue, and it's just not going to, you know, adhere. So there you go, my lace sampler has found its home. Let's spin this around. I've got glue bottles everywhere. Put some lids on the glue, girl. Glue's just dangerous when it comes into my area. There's just so many laces and beautiful things around. So I just need to take a breath. Now I'm going to try and get my needle in there. I did not think that this was how I was going to proceed with this video. I knew I had to do something with this spine, make a decision, and I really felt like the lace sampler was getting too big. If I was to carry on the way I was going, I would have no room for any of the other prompts, and I would think that some of those prompts would need to be in this journal because they will suit it. So I can always do a little bit more work with lace, and that goes for all of your projects. You might find that as your piece is starting to come together, I think the girls actually touched on this, that you'll go back to a prompt from whatever week and have another play with it, because it might be just the thing to fit into a space. I bet there'll be a prompt with your favourite fabrics, and that could be one that is definitely repeated, because you will have probably put together a beautiful pile of fabrics and you'll be delving into them all the time. So I'm just doing a little overcast stitch around the perimeter of this little tab. And that should hold it nicely. I'll attach it through both sides, I think. So now I've got a closure on my signature. So this goes for all the signatures. You might decide that each signature gets its own closure, so it's a bit of a adventure as you go through. That'd be a lovely idea. Could easily do that with this, because your signature is predetermined in size and it's only 4 pages. It's all fabric, so there's no reason why maybe we have to find a piece of jewelry, a treasured piece of jewelry, and a hat pin or something might come out. You could use that as part of a closure. Gosh, the possibilities with this. I know everyone in the beginning was like, what? How do we do this? Trust me, it'll come together. Just go with it. I can guarantee those girls, those Roxy girls, have put a lot of thought into this and can visualize the project overall. So we just have to trust that they're taking us on this journey. There we go. And now I don't want to tug too much because everything is just sitting there. So that will become my closure. Just trying to be really gentle. There we go. How good is that? I like it a lot. Now I need to just walk away I'm going to undo that because it's pulling upward on that back piece and I need it to adhere nice and firmly. So I'm going to take the pressure off and let that glue. All right, I'm happy with that. I feel like we are moving forward. My spine is protected. I've got plenty of space here. So my signature idea will work. So going down the track a little bit, that will glue into there. That will glue into there. That will stitch into there, and then I have space for a piece of embroidery here, which I have already a torn piece, don't I? Didn't I? Do I? Yes, I do. Here it is. That would attach there. And that's covering my tabs. And then that would nestle on top as that spine goes up. There you go. It's coming together now. All right, guys. I need to just put it away and let it dry before I make a mess. So let's just move it. All right, what are we going to do next? Oh, I know, Honey Bear. Let's have a look at Honey Bear's collar. So there's our Honey Bear. See, I thought I might be doing something completely different. Now, Miss Honey Bear, let's get your little dress out. Okay. I should really have a look at the time because I've been mucking around so much. I'm sure I haven't exceeded. Now, there was a collar in here we spotted the other day. Or bits of collars. Problem is her dress is only little. So we may have to do some creative thinking again to make the collar actually work. So it's not in there. Let's have a look. I know it's not far. Where is it? There it is. It's only little. It's perfect size for Honey Bear. Oh, this was funny. I bought this in France thinking it was French. You see it's got a monogram on it? Bring it up to the camera. So I went to my manager that runs our store on the north side of Brisbane. He's a Frenchman. And I said, Peter, what's that actually say? And he goes, safe travels. And it's Portuguese. It's not even French. Safe travels. So there's another monogram. So there you go. Isn't that funny? You buy these things and just because you're in France doesn't mean it's French. It could have come from anywhere. Okay, Honey Bear. Honey Bear, are you watching? Do you like the collar? Yes? Good. Now hop over there. Out of the way. There's pins here. We don't want Honey Bear to get hurt. Now how the hell are we going to do this? The thing we've got is a collar that is way too big. So we may have to break a few rules. I do love that. Do we leave that on? Gosh. What's it say? F-R-Z-I-N-E, fine. 70 franc. 70 70, it wasn't 70 euro. Where's the middle? So let's just mark the middle with a little bit of thread, just so that I've got a bit of a reference point. So let's just snip that off. Where's the pins? This will be interesting because it is, I wonder if we can take it down through the back. Maybe that's the way to do it. So what's the front? What's the back? That's the front. There's the center. Let's just pin it and see what happens. We could gather it, but it might pucker. It might not sit flat. You know what collars can be like. Maybe we do need to gather it. I really don't want to cut it because see how it's scalloped there? Going to need to get around a sharp corner here, so I think we need to do a little pleat to get us there. Let's just pin it, see how it sits. We could come from the back to the front and have the, don't know. It's not like the first, it is the first time that I have actually attached a lace collar to a little dress. It's not something that happens regularly in our world these days, is it? I'm going to do another little pleat there, and we definitely have a heap left. And it will come very close to getting all the way to the bottom. So that's one option. Oops, let's just take it slow. That would work. That would work. And we're so close to the bottom. Maybe I can do some work around here with some fabric that... So the front of her little dress would have that effect. Or, let's try this again. I think if we brought this through... No, it won't work. It won't work, Corrine. Yeah, it won't work. I'd have to cut it. We would have her lapels meeting here. You see where I was heading? It won't work. Gosh, can't you tell I'm not a seamstress? Let's see. See, I would have that finishing here. Wouldn't that be sweet? If we did this way, let's just pin it. Let's talk it through. I definitely wouldn't have Honey Bear with a tag hanging off of her neck. That's a bit rude. If we did this, I then would have the opportunity of doing something here, whether it be a brooch or, you know, I do like that. I do like that. You know what that would give me is lace. And I just bring now we need that little pleat. You know what we could do? No, it won't work. I don't have enough. We could put it on the cuffs. I don't have enough. I guess these pieces would have been bought like this from the old travelling salesman, and then they would have had to cut it to suit their outfit, wouldn't they? Like, what's the odds? Now I can't get that to turn. What's the odds that the collar would be perfectly fitted to a dress that was being made? It just wouldn't happen, would it? So maybe I can be a little less precious about this and actually cut it. And we just give her a little, I feel like we'd need to do some serious pleating to get around that bend. Shouldn't be too hard. So how would we make it look neat? I guess they'd just turn it under and then stitch it down. I'm so tempted, guys, to do it like that. And then what do I get? I get all this. Spare. Honey Bear, do you really need a big collar right down the back? I don't think you do. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it. I think this collar needs to have that shape at the front. Otherwise, it's just a clown collar. Yep, we're going to do it. What I'll do, oh, I know. I'll just tuck that under and then we get a neat edge. Oh, yes, we're doing it. Stop being precious. Do I cut it now? No. Do I stitch? Stitch. I'm going to stitch. Don't cut. Oh, gosh. I know you're all yelling at the screen out there with 20 different suggestions. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to stitch it on now. Have we got the middle? Oh, how fiddly is this? Be different if we had an actual human. Oh, I did well. That is the middle. Okay, honey bear, here we go. We're going to stitch on a lace collar. Oh my goodness. Have I just gone back in time? Oh, need a knot that's bigger. I wonder if there's a certain stitch they use. Stop thinking and just do it. It's a teddy bear's outfit, for goodness sakes. Why so precious? Get rid of the pen before we have a... Okay, we're in. We're done. So we're going to cut it and stitch it under to make it neat at the other end. So I'm just going to follow. Needle came unthreaded. Oh, I've got no idea how long my video is. I'm not a fan of stopping the video because I get carried away and then I don't know how long I've been filming. I think I did about 16 minutes. I'm just going to do a little running stitch, I think. That will look neat on the inside. Neatish. Okay. And then we get to the neck here. I might take all those pins out because I can manipulate the lace then without worrying and get it exactly where I want it. Okay, nice and flat. And just keep working my way up to the first turn. All right, now we're at the shoulder seam. I'm just going to put an extra couple stitches there just to anchor that lace. Then I'm going to pinch it into a pleat from this side, and that will allow me to go around that corner because it's a U-turn, so there's actually two corners here, so we'll need two pleats for it to sit properly. Let's just anchor that. We can always come back then and embellish the top edge. We could put some pearls around there. The potential is great. So let's just now put another little pleat. That will get me heading towards the back. Beautiful. I will just stitch it. So it's just a little bit of gathering on that neckline. Whether it's technically correct, who knows? If Grandma was here, she would soon tell me. All right. And now we're heading. And now I've got all this spare lace. That's great. Honey Bear can't hog the lace. I know she's a bit of a dame, but, you know, come on. The seamstress always keeps the scraps. Isn't that the rule? That's what Grandma used to say. It was so hard to get little snippets of things from Grandma's desk. If she made you an outfit, she would squirrel away the fabric. It was so funny. And it was funny when we were going through all of her cupboards. She went into a nursing home, but she was still with us and very much alert. So she's sitting down the hill at a nursing home. And my mum and her sister and myself were there, you know, getting everything sorted. Oh, that's sitting beautifully. All right, let's do the big snip. Give ourselves a little bit. Don't be stingy now. Oh, I did it. And then we can just turn that around and then stitch it down. So yeah, Grandma's down at the nursing home giving commands. It was funny. Those were some memories. And we'd go through the cupboards and we'd find fabric bits, you know, with a pin in it, rolled up pieces of fabric, scraps. And it was a dress that had been made for us. And we were giggling away, that girl. Now the plan is, so I could do a little pearl. I need to give that a little bit of flex there. Don't be too straight on that. Keep that angle right. Oh, so cute. I so would have done this as a little girl. You could imagine it, couldn't you? You can just see. All right. Now I'm just going to start sneaking down this edge. Just a couple little tiny little stitches just to hold. I want it to feel fullish, not puckery. I need a pin. I need to pin it just to make sure it's sitting right. See how it's pulling? So I need to give it a little bit more. There we go. That's better. So I can stitch down there, no worries. What I might do is I need to check the time. I just feel like I might have gone over. I may not. What I'll do is I'm going to stop the video. I'll stitch down there, check my time, and I'll be back. So it'll only be a few seconds for you guys. Won't be a moment. Hi guys, I'm back. So I got a little bit of time, so it's all good. I decided to actually unpick it and move it back a little bit. I started thinking about potentially a piece of jewellery here, and I felt that if that was a decent size, or even another piece of lace or something, it potentially will cover the shape of her collar. So I thought, oh, I'll just stop and move it back to the point where something could sit in that little gap. And I thought I might as well do it now. That then also allowed me a little bit more lace to gather as I went around that edge, because I needed more little pleats in there to make it sit right around there. And then I was like, well, that will work. So I found the center, then started, and then I've done the opposite side exactly the same. So now I can put a brooch in here and I'm not going to lose the shape of that little collar. So I'm pleased I figured that one out before I realised down the track that I was sort of losing the integrity of the little collar. So now I'm just stitching. And the other thing I did is I changed to an overcast stitch. Now I was doing a running stitch and it seemed like it was a bit gappy. So now I'm doing a little overcast stitch, and I really prefer it. It's really snug into the neckline. It's heaps better. Sort of just felt that running stitch was a little bit too loose and forgiving, where this is, yeah, this is not going to move. The other thing too, looking at the shape of this little pinafore, is I feel like the sleeves might be a little bit full. So I think I will do a bit of a fitting of the dress to Honey again. See how they come up? There's this height here. I think I could actually lose a lot of that bulk because it is pushing up also on this little delicate lace collar. So if I was to, let me show you what I'm thinking. If I was to make that sleeve a straighter sleeve, I need to fit the little dress to her and have a little look at it, because I think I could get rid of, I know that does give the sleeve shape. There's no rush. I'll just need to, think it through, because it would be then a puffy sleeve and we could gather it in and she'd have this big chunky sleeve. But this little lace collar, it sort of is getting pushed around by that bulk. So I sort of really, really want the lace collar at the sacrifice of having a puffy sleeve, to be honest. So now I'm going to do my first little tuck, my little pleat, to start working my way around. Work my way around here. Just take my time. Well, I can't take forever because you guys will never see this thing finished if I don't get a wriggle on. It's giving it enough of gather so that it's not pulling, but not making it look like a big gathered mess on the shoulder either. It's quite a fine line. I'm sure there's probably, oh, that cat. I'm sure there is rules probably to stitching on a Edwardian collar. But being that I'm not formally trained in stitching on collars on teddy bears, it is what it is. Honey Bear won't care. She's an easygoing chick. Keep your pleats going the one way, girl. Don't go and... Oops. I'm just doing some little stitches in there to catch it. Riveting viewing for you all, I'm sure. I know there's a few of you with teddies out there, or dollies, that are having a bit of a treasure hunt makeover. It's really cool. And I'm sure you're all talking to your teddy or dolly like I am. It's like I've gone back in time. But that's okay, doesn't matter. It's when Teddy starts answering back, that's when I've got a problem. So I'm just taking my time and easing it around, plenty of excess. I'll just keep that one sleeve pinned like I have here with the bulk missing, and I might fit it to her and just have a little look at it and then make a decision on whether I need to just do a fitting. Grandma would say, we need to have a fitting. Fudgy. There we go. Pretty sure that is looking good. And I've got that little space there for a brooch. I'll have to keep my eyes open for something dainty, because I had a look at the very beginning of this project when it was first announced. I went straight to my treasured jewellery pieces from Grandma and my mum, and oh, the memories. But I would say that there's probably not a piece that suits Honey Bear's form here. Everything that Grandma worn was, you know, the size of a, well, in Australia, a 50-cent piece, so pretty big. I would say I'll need something a little bit more dainty. So there might be a treasure hunt needing to be happen. Where's my needle gone now? Lost it. I'll have to go back through, have a little look. Imagine a sapphire or something. Oh, that's expensive. But you know what I mean. She's got a little blue themed dress. Imagine if I could find a little, how brave am I now? I just chop, no worries. And look at that. I've got a precious, precious piece. So yeah, imagine if I could find a blue stone. I can hear my husband coming out for some breakfast, so oh no, maybe not. It's a bit windy today, and I think the door to the garage just blew closed. So now Fudgy's going to bellow because he's like, the door, Mum, the door's closed. He'll want to tell me all about it. I feel cack-handed. I'm going to spin my little dress around. I just need the tiniest little turnover. I don't need a lot in there. It's just not worth hiding all that beautiful lace in behind. Just get a few little tacked down stitches. I think too, I have somewhere, you know that binding, I don't know, what's it called, loops? You know the binding that you would stitch onto the back of a corset or even a wedding dress that has pre-made loops? I think I have a piece of that somewhere from Grandma's room. That would be really cool to stitch a little piece on and then find some little pearl buttons or something with a shank. You know what I mean? I'll have to go hunting. I'm sure I've got it. It's like a band, and it has all these little loops on it, and they cut it to whatever they need. They buy it by the metre, cut it to what they need, and they'll stitch it as a closure on the back of a wedding dress or a corset or yeah. I have a feeling I have a little piece of that somewhere. It's not a very big piece. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I'm positive I do. I might go hunting for that, and then I'll just pin it to her little dress here or put it in her project box, and another time we might look at, well, maybe there's a prompt for a button or something. Oh, come on. And we could put a closure. I do think Honey Bear will be getting more lace on her little dress. There we go. Turn your little collar down. See, the bulk is pushing up that sleeve. The sleeve is pushing up against that lace. So if I just pin that down, I think I do need to make that adjustment. Just get rid of a bit of that bulk. Maybe I can just take a little bit out and still keep the shape of that little dress. We'll see. Decisions, aren't they? There we go. There's her little collar attached to her little dress. No, so sweet. Could you imagine some nice little pearl button closure down the back there? If I can find it. Little hook, oh, I don't know, loops. It's not hook and eye. Loops with a couple pearl buttons at the back of her neck. That'd be a bit special. Now I need to find something to go here. Something will come along. Something will come along. Oh, I love it. All right, Honey Bear, where are you? She's got skinny arms, so she probably doesn't need the bulk. She could have it thinned out a little bit on her. We will have a fitting, Honey Bear. We'll have a little chat about your shoulders. Lovely. All right, guys, I might leave it at that. Honey Bear and I'll go and have a chat about the shape of her bodice. And we might do a little bit of a, if she didn't have such a rotundous tummy, we could really pinch that pinafore in, but she goes from a skinny neck to quite a wide tummy really quickly. So anyway, another day. All right, guys, thank you very much for joining me, and thank you for watching me attach little Honey Bear's collar. Love it. All right, guys, look after yourselves, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now. Oh, I know what I was going to say. When I was researching samplers, there's a sampler. It's not really a salesman sampler. It's something that's been created by someone as a example of lace, and it's in a museum in England. Look at that. So it's a sampler of lace, like we did with our samplers of stitchery. Look at that. I just had to do a screenshot and show you. There's words in there stitched into the lace. Oh my goodness. So that's in a museum in London. Oh, just stunning. Anyway, I will put a bit of a photo of that at the end so you can have a closer look, but it'll probably only be a little bit of it, but we'll see. I'll try and get a better photo for you so you can at least have a look at it at the end of the video. All right, guys, look after yourselves. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.